Here.
Luz,
Here.
we have a quorum.
Thank you.
I'm sitting in.
Oh, Gershenson?
Here.
Thank you. Please join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Glory to your name.
Our first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from August 23rd, 2022. I have a motion by Commissioner Cavell, support from Commissioner McGilvery. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Next up is approval of the agenda. I have a motion by Commissioner Powell, support from Commissioner Hoffman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. We have 3 items under communications. The first is the intake disposition report from our animal shelter. Second is a grant application for the pedestrian and bicycle overtime enforcement for fiscal year 2023. And the third item is a grant application exception with the State of Michigan Department of State Police for the fiscal year 2023 Secondary Road Patrol Grant. I
Madam
have
Chair,
a motion by Commissioner
did we
McGill.
forget public comment?
Oh, we did. So we are going back to public comment. Thank you. So our first public comment is for items on the agenda. Is there anybody wishing to speak to items on the agenda? All right, public comment is closed. We're back to communications. The 3 items. Who would like to make a motion? I have a motion by Commissioner Powell, support from Commissioner McGilvery. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Communications is approved. On our regular agenda item, the first item is from the 52nd 4th District Court in Troy, staffing modification to delete 3 part-time hours per year positions and create 1 full-time position. I have a motion by Commissioner Nelson, support from Commissioner Powell. And is Jennifer here to speak to this? Yes. Welcome, Jennifer. But you're on mute. Oh, we put you on mute.
She ain't came in yet.
Would you call it again? She was on, we were on mute, so she probably didn't
Oh,
hear what you said.
Jennifer Phillips, are you ready, available? Perfect, thank you. Sorry that we kept you on mute.
Oh, it's okay. I was starting to worry that I had something wrong on my end, but thank you.
Sure. Is there anything you'd like to add about the deletion of part-time positions and the creation of 1 full-time position?
I think it's pretty straightforward, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions regarding those items? The deletion of 3 part-time positions and creating 1 full-time position at the 52nd 4th District Court in Troy? All right. Oh, Commissioner Powell?
What would be the overall salary of this one person? Because, I mean, it's a lot of figures here, and I just want to know what the overall salary be for that one position. If y'all deleted 3.
It's the salary range for a district court clerk position. It's, no, I'm sorry, I didn't have that right in front of me. It's in the, I can get back to you on that in a second. It's in the.
Oh, you
40.
you know what? You fine. I see it in the, I kind of got it for fiscal year 2024 and 2025. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I tried to make this cost neutral, and there's a teeny savings in 2000 or in 23, but then a small offset in 2024 and 2025.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Hoffman?
I'm just curious, are we having a difficult time staffing positions in the court, or are we doing pretty good?
You know, we've been fairly lucky here in Troy. We have a pretty low turnover rate. Since I've only been here 5 months, we haven't had that many challenges. We do have multiple part-time, and we could use at least one more full-time.
Okay, thank you and welcome to the court.
Thank you. Thank you. I also just want to take a second and say thank you to Antonio in finance and Haley and Heather in HR, because this was my first run through and they were fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, prompt the vote.
You have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you very much.
Our next item is from Health and Human Services, Health Division, grant acceptance with Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for the fiscal year 2023 LHD Comprehensive Agreement. I have a motion by Commissioner Nelson, support from Commissioner McGilvery, and we have Leanne Stafford here to address this item.
Good afternoon, everyone. So this funding here is really our mandated services from NDHHS. And so this really takes into our HIV program, it's really all of our mandated programs from environmental health to WIC. And so this year we have a small decrease, and this happens, we get ebb and flow based on, some of the funding. The state will take over a program and then will give us a program and then will give us funding. So it's always back and forth a little bit. And so this is for our full next fiscal year, October 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2023. You do see a decrease. Actually, we're deleting 7 vacant special revenue positions. Again, these are positions that we've had to eliminate due to funding, maybe cuts or, reallocating some funding. But overall, these programs are very well staffed and able to kind of move forward and meet our requirements.
Thank you. Comments or questions? All right, prompt the vote, please.
I'm not getting one.
Okay, what was your vote on the last one?
Yes.
Yes, I just realized that you weren't on there. And this one?
Yes.
On the last vote, you had 9-0. On this, you also have 9 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Our next item is similar from the Health Division, the grant acceptance with Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for the fiscal year 2023 LHD Emerging Threats Agreement. I have a motion by Commissioner Cavell, support from Commissioner Gershenson. When this looks like this refers to COVID circumstances. Leanne, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, and it's not just COVID. That's the one piece I wanted to add. There is some funding in here for COVID, but what the state has done is really broadened our response to really looking at all emerging threats. So you can see in here, COVID is definitely part of it, but all of our communicable disease response has funding in here. So our epidemiologists, which you heard a lot from COVID, or you got to know from COVID, but they are busy every day, looking at polio, right? And I know you've seen what's going on, they're talking about New York. So we're watching and preparing, if it was to come here. All other diseases, chickenpox in schools, the funding has actually been broadened a little bit to allow that. This is also PFAS response if we needed to respond to an event where we had an increase in PFAS. So it's really grown a little bit in its scope, but COVID is also included in here.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Prompt the vote, please.
You have 9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion carries. Thank you, Leanne.
Thank you.
Our next item is from the Sheriff's Office, a contract extension with Haven to provide services to victims of sexual assault through the Safe Therapeutic Assault Response Team. or the acronym START for fiscal year 2023 to 2025. I have a motion by Commissioner Cavell, support from Commissioner Hoffman, and we have our under sheriff and staff here to speak to this item.
Good morning. So this is a renewal of the Haven agreement. Last year, the board approved a one-year extension for $65,000. This one, we're proposing a 3-year continuation, and it goes back to the original amount of $45,000 per year that's included in the sheriff's office budget. So this is really a board initiative, but it's the sheriff acts as the fiduciary for the program. And just a note, so on the back of your packet, there was a report of what they've spent to date. And I think yours went through the end of went through July and said they had spent $55,000. We got an update, and through the month of August, they've spent $59,625. So that's $225 per forensic exam. So unfortunately, they are very busy.
Thank you. We also have an amendment here. So the amendment addresses the finances. So Commissioner Cavell, would you like to talk about the finances?
Yeah, as Gaia mentioned, it's looking like the Haven is on track to utilizing over $65,000, and the contract before us is for $45,000. So what this amendment is to basically right size based on need. So saying up to $70,000 a year over the life of the 3-year contract. So instead of $45,000 a year, $70,000 a year, because as Gaia just said, we're on track to be at like 66 grand, and based on need for domestic violence.
So our contract has been 45.
Yep.
To date, they've spent 59.
Yep.
And the amendment would allow for 70,000 a year. Okay. Commissioner Gershenson, followed by Commissioner Hoffman.
So why was it cut from 65 to 45 to begin with?
45 is what's been in the budget historically.
Consistently,
And last
so that
year-
was just a
yep.
one-time
Yep,
thing?
last year
I
you
see.
increased it for 1 year to $65,000
Got it.
to assess the need to see, and then obviously they're on track to
Got
spend
it.
that amount, so.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hoffman?
If this amendment were not approved, would they have to cut services?
We just would, I think they would continue to do the forensic exams, but we wouldn't reimburse them for the ones over and above $45,000. So they would still continue to provide the service. We just wouldn't pay for them over that amount.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, so we'll vote on the amendment.
Initiated and. we
Yes.
did a second?
We had a second.
Oh.
Who seconded? Yeah,
I
Commissioner
will.
Gershenson.
Thank you.
All right, prompt the vote on the amendment.
Jackson?
Yes,
We have 9.
it came through.
Okay, great. 9 yeas, 0. 9 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, the amendment passes. We are back to our resolution, the extension with Haven to provide services, taking in light the amendment for the, so the changes are the amount of money. Anything else? All right, prompt the vote, please.
Nine yeas, 0 nays.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Our next item from the Sheriff's Office is an interlocal agreement with Oakland Community Health Network for medication assistant treatment and jail alliance with support programming positions at the Oakland County Jail. I have a motion by Commissioner Nelson, support from Commissioner Hoffman.
Okay, so this is a continuation, it's an amendment to an existing agreement, and it will continue one full-time inmate caseworker, 2 part-time inmate caseworkers, and a full-time inmate caseworker specialist for a total of $303,335. And this is actually an increase of what we had in prior years. Previously, they only paid for salaries but not fringe benefits, and now this year they're covering the positions in full.
Thank you.
And we have Marcus here. He's the supervisor of program services. If you have any programmatic questions, we can answer those for you.
Oh, you're well prepared. We have one question from Commissioner Cavell.
Just 'cause- Message received, okay. So make it quick, Marcus. But just since you've been sitting here since like 9:30, tell us like what's the 30-second pitch on Matt and Jaws? And are you meeting the need you have or expect to have? And so like how many people you serve and all that?
So right now, we have, are we meeting the need? Yes. We are structured a little differently because for the JAWS program, there's an MRT portion, moral recognition therapy, which is provided by Easter Seals, and they have staff that come in to do that. It's been on camera since the beginning of the pandemic, so we've been very limited in how the size of our group. Right now, it's capped at 8, but this week or next week, they're going to have a new staff member come in to actually do grouping, so we can increase the group size significantly when we have that in person. So that's we're looking for a bump there for JAWS. In way of the MAP program, those services are being met as well. We're doing well. We have like 22 currently active in the MAP program, and we have, let's see, I think we started 83 in the program this year. And we currently have 22 active. Since its inception in 2018, we've started 430 individuals in the MAP program in the jail. So, and these services seem to be more in need and increasing the further we go down the road here. So there is plans to increase that as well.
Thank you. All right, anything else? All right, prompt the vote, please.
You have 9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion carries. Thank you. Our next item, also from the Sheriff's Office, is an interlocal agreement, Amendment 1 to Law Enforcement Services Agreement for 2022, 23, and 24 with Parks and Rec Commission. I have a motion by Commissioner Nelson, support from Commissioner Gershenson. And we're back to you.
Okay, so this is an amendment that was requested by Parks and Recreation. So if you recall earlier this year, they brought their 3-year law enforcement agreement to the board. We were supposed to delete a sergeant position beginning on October 1st. And after further consideration, they approached us and said that they would like to keep the sergeant position for their busiest 6 months, but then would like to split the funding half and half with the sheriff's office. So we were agreeable to that, to continue this position. In order to fund that, we had to delete a full-time Deputy 2 position to fund the sergeant. That left a little bit of money, and so we've asked to create a part-time non-eligible forensic lab technician to address some of our backlog issues. So it seems a little bit odd to have that forensic lab technician in the Parks resolution, but it's to make it budget neutral and basically not leave any money on the table. We do know that there's going to be a cut in our forensic lab funding going forward for this, for a similar part-time position. So it's good timing that we can create this, and then once that funding is cut, we'll be able to, fill the backlog with this person.
And actually, it makes sense. Any other comments or questions? All right, prompt the vote, please. Motion carries. Thank you. One last item for you. The interlocal agreement with Oakland Community Health Network for a mental health co-responder licensed clinician for fiscal year 2023. Motion by Commissioner Nelson, support from Commissioner Gershenson. Is there anything else you'd like to add regarding this contract?
Just that this was a pilot program that was initiated with the budget process a year ago. It took a while to fill this position through OCHN, but they finally were able to fill it in June, I think it was. And so the program's up and running. The person's assigned in Pontiac right now. And so this is a continuation of, keeping that program going. And obviously Commissioner Cavell is very much involved in this and moving this program forward, so.
And the initial feedback has been very positive from what we've heard.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell?
How many co-responders clinicals do we have?
One.
One.
This is the first one, yeah. So we didn't get, I think it took them, 3 offers or something to finally get somebody to take the position. And then, but now it's up and running and she's.
I know it's up and running.
Right, so she's been riding along and responding and so we're just asking to continue it for another year at this point.
Yes, can I please ask my commissioners to please support that? We recently had an incident. I was able to see, it was an incident, but just to see that her presence was there to try to help and assist our sheriffs, it was great. So I want you all to continue to support it, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Is this, what hours does this person work?
That's a good question.
I was going to say, I know there's a schedule because I think at one time they were talking about afternoon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but
it's
I'm not
probably
positive.
afternoons because that's the busiest shift for those type of calls. So I know in that particular incident that Commissioner Powell's talking about, it was afternoons.
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner Cavell?
Yeah, just real quick, because we're mentioning it, Lieutenant Workman from the Sheriff's Office has said that, doing some back-of-the-envelope math, that the county as a whole, not just the Sheriff's Office, but also local law enforcement regionally, but the county as a whole would benefit from a total of 15 of these types of folks to be able to be used either with other departments or just at the Sheriff's Office, making sure we have full countywide reach. Just because, like Commissioner Powell and Undersheriff said, they're very useful.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, prompt the vote, please.
You have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, your job here for today is done. We now move on to public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment?
Dropping stuff.
You guys take the rest of the day off your pay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Catherine Kennedy. I'm from Orion Township. And I was actually very puzzled when I realized that Mr. Woodward came to change the vote from the Lago meeting on item 8D, so you could pay yourselves 5% in the first year and 3% the second year. In spite of the fact that, oh, did we just get the mic on? So I don't understand how that even occurred, that we had a short recess for 15 minutes that I thought was an adjournment at first, and then come back and re-vote on something that had just been voted the opposite way in the actual meeting where it was supposed to occur. So this, to me, is a puzzler, because as a citizen, and especially understanding that you guys just created a land bank to take over for tax foreclosed properties, that I was refused a FOIA because the things that were discussed in the Democratic caucus were so consequential to the legal situation, not only for tax foreclosures, but also the land bank, how it was set up. The fact that 50% of any land bank could be used for the environmental cleanup, the Brownsfield. These are all things that were done in the dark, were not part of the minutes. We talked about road commission. There were so many things that have been done in commission at Democratic caucus, because here They use Democratic caucus and ad hoc meetings instead, the Democratic caucus instead of an executive committee. That's what I find completely wrong. There is no business in the globe that would find this acceptable. So why is it the public people using public funds that actually have more strict guidelines, except for they voted themselves not to have to worry about Sarbanes-Oxley, which frankly, this county should Sarbanes-Oxley itself. I know they don't have to. But this is a real problem from a citizen standpoint, to see how many people have already lost their homes, and then to auction them off at an online site and allow non-citizens to simply fill in a form and have a credit card to purchase our tax foreclosed properties of all sorts. Do you know we sold off a lot of our DNR property? Acreage, massive acreage. So while the one side, they're saying, oh yeah, we want to be environmentally friendly, GLWA allowed Viking Cruises, a foreign corporation, to start doing leisure cruises on our Great Lakes, the biggest water supply of North America for drinking water, yet the same organization that is supposed to be protecting the citizens to have clean water that we're spending multi-millions, maybe even billions to do right now, is at the same time authorizing foreign entities to make money abusing our natural resources for leisure. Something's wrong with this picture, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Under Jody White, Wayne County, real estate broker since 1983 that do appraisals for value for big companies like that. And what she's talking about, I am appalled because I knew something was up, but I don't want to talk about that subject. But what she's saying next time, I'll talk to you about that. Thank you, Under Sheriff Childs, for joining in. Part of the situation is that the sheriff is the fiduciary of the programs because it clearly states in our public laws, which I want to read. It says, in accordance with the provisions of Public Act 139 of 1973, the Unified Form of County Government Act, and Public Act 621 of 1978, which was amended, it is the responsibility and the Accounting Act for Local Government, it is the responsibility of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners to establish and adopt the annual county budget and work program. We need a work program with our seniors. I have been begging and asking. I'm trying to run for legislation, cannot make it as a seat. So until I can do it at a state level, I'm coming to the county that is harming my family. And I'm not doing it because, not that it's any of your guys' business, but I signed prenups. So my husband and I'm doing this because I'm a real estate agent and I care about everybody else, including all those people that are losing their homes. This is a systemic issue of stealing the people's assets, and I don't like it. And I don't like it because they don't like that I take photos. Real estate people, we take photos. Why? We need evidence. We market good. We don't market evil. So I'm going to tell you right now, and this is in closing because I don't want that buzzer to go off on me. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks rejected the bus driver's order to vacate a row of 4 seats in favor of other people. She resisted the unfair and biased treatment between people as the bus driver was able to call in law enforcement. Well, on 9/7/2022, I wasn't going to name names, but other people have already told you. Joe Ehrlich, an attorney that has been up under my family since we wanted him not to be part of our personal representative, with the winery and the assets and the condo and it's like $1.8 million. They're stealing my family's estate, and they want to put me back in jail. I've already served 33 days. You guys seen the bruises that the sheriff, I don't know if he got demoted or not, don't know, don't really care. I just asked back in October of 2018 for this man to come up and apologize for me. I don't want to sue anybody. I want things to be made right. I'm not Rosa Parks going for the money. I want to be someone that is telling you guys there's an issue here. The sheriffs are supposed to be in charge of the financial. Are we, someone taking money, because I could have gone after the sheriff's department for what that man did to me in front of my husband, and they stole all of my footage, because they can clip, because they own this footage, and yet they won't let us have it. We're working with Jim Runstead and Ruth Johnson. We want 24/7 court records where it comes to us. We've been asking you guys for it. The $4.3 million camera system that you have in here is beautiful. At 1 o'clock today, we have a meeting at the probate session. We'd like to invite all of you. One person is going to come. Thank you, sir. I'd like all of you to come. And we'll be back at the next meeting to see how you guys feel about what you've seen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Janice Daniels. I live in Oakland County. I attended that September 7th hearing that Jody White was referring to, and I know that we can't, it seems as though we can't get video footage of it. We can go in this meeting room and look at it, but my understanding is that we're not allowed to have it as public records, which it's a public hearing, so I don't know why. So I know that you're busy and you're going to do your own thing. You're probably not even going to listen to me, but I wanted to have this on the record in your meeting here. I have some questions that came up as a result of my watching what happened in that courtroom. How is justice served when the people's cases are drawn out for a decade? Or is the only reason that these cases are drawn out solely for the monetary benefit of the court and the attorneys and the staff who drain the resources of the family inheritance in an illusion of working for them? Number two, why is it that judges get to sit in these cushy chairs while the people have to sit on hardwood benches? We pay these people. We elect these people to act as public functionaries for the people. And I don't know why we have to sit in the uncomfortable hard chairs enduring insult and potential injury. Three, why isn't solemn decorum demanded in the courtroom by certain people when they're in front of the judge who flash nails that are 2 inches long and brag about their trips around the world and they wear inappropriate clothes, while at the same time other people like Jody White sit quietly in attendance and they're attacked mercilessly for the demand for good governance? 4, why are high-paid, seeming mean-spirited men allowed to burst into courtrooms with the intimidating force of the sheriff, God bless you, sir, beside them, pointing their fingers at an entire row of people, demanding the removal of unnamed persons without due process, without warrants, without court orders, creating uncalled for fear and unproductive mayhem in the hearts and minds and souls of every single person that was sitting in that courtroom on that day. And this happens over and over again. And why is a man not given an opportunity to stand up and defend his wife who's being attacked mercilessly? I mean, in my humble opinion, Jody's husband, Jeff White, honorably demonstrated a much needed manly quality of defending his wife. It was beautiful to witness. Jeff White should have been given the floor. He should have been given the opportunity to challenge these egregious actions that were taking place in that courtroom on that day by the men that I now call stormtroopers. And Jeff White should be applauded by the judge and every person in that room for his bravery. Instead, he was verbally attacked by Judge O'Brien, and he was forced to leave the building, just completely leave the building, missing the proceedings of his family's inheritance. These are some egregious issues that need to be addressed by this fine Board of Commissioners whose job is to protect we the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell me when it starts.
Yep, I'm ready. With your first word, we'll go.
Okay. Yes, I'm just piggybacking on Jody's case and the situation that happened.
Excuse me, will you say your name and community?
Christina Bood, Wayne
Thank you.
County. And piggybacking because of the criminal aspect and the racketeering. That's what it's called. You have a professional guardian list posted this year, but from over there, where the judges will refer guardians to court-ordered situations, which happens to be most of them, whether it's legal or not, as in my case, they just assign them against the Michigan statutes. And of those, you have John Munger listed, Thomas Brennan Frazier, Jennifer Carney, all who were fired by the Attorney General, Dana Nessel as public administrators because she found criminal aspects in them. They're sitting on the list out there to be used and recycled again into the population of Oakland County elders. Amy Kradich is on the list. She works and takes over for John Young, who's semi-retired. John Young was one of the ones that were fired. Why? Because of criminal aspect. He's the one that caused my mother's death. When I fought, and they were 1 week away going to court to me being guardian because I fought my way, was my own attorney and won. She was found missing from the high-end nursing home and then dead. You do the figuring out. I did. Elizabeth Dury, she's on the list this year for April 2022. She also works at John Young's office. John Munger, the others wouldn't tell me how many wards they had, but John Munger's did because I told them I was looking for a very good guardian for an elder. And I asked them how many they had, and he had over 350 wards right now. Some of them, I found out, doing a little undercover work, have up to 600 wards apiece. 600. Can you take care of 600? 600. That's why they die. And I asked one of the guardians who had their own business, I said, how do you operate that? And he says, well, the ones with money, he didn't know I was undercover. He said, well, the ones with money, they get into a nice nursing home and, you know, if their family's around, you know, they'll go visit them. And I said, well, what about the ones that don't have money that you assign these guardians to? And he says, well, basically, they get a meal and a bed. And when we investigated with our journalist, award-winning journalist that was up for a Pulitzer Prize, she found pictures, they're all in here in the Fortress, which is online, of people who were on mattresses using their jacket in these unlicensed from Lara group homes. And there are hundreds and hundreds in Oakland County just like it.
Thank you. It's time to wrap up.
Okay, and we're going to see a video right now at 1 o'clock, and they have invited you to come and watch so you can get a little pinch of what's going on over there. Of the other day when we were all attacked, we all felt threatened, and I felt unsafe. This is a safety meeting, and I felt my life was in danger because the judge called for sheriffs. He just yelled out, call the sheriffs.
Okay,
So
thank
you're
you.
talking about armed men coming in this day and age to a volatile situation, which they deliberately created, this Joseph Ehrlich. And
Oh, we're done.
Yes.
But thank you for coming.
well, I hope you earn your raises that you're all getting by doing something about this, because we've been speaking
All
for
right, there are no
3
other
years.
items. Our public comment is closed. There are no other items on the agenda, so I declare this meeting adjourned at 12:42 p.m. Thank you.
Good job.